In the headlines, Dominica attains food security goal. Global health agencies say people living with HIV and AIDS are not at greater risk of contracting COVID-19 than their other counterparts. And Forestry Division and police collaborate to curb illegal export of Dominica's wildlife. I'm Andrea Louis with the Channel 5 News. Back with the details after this.
We are strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this together. But these are stressful times, and it's important to also practice good self-care. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or afraid, but there is hope. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, stay in touch with your community, and know that you are not alone. We're in this together. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
Showtime, shop at Quartz. We got all the things you want.
It's showtime at Quartz. Shop today and save up to 30% off on selected Whirlpool cooker. Plus, get a chance to win amazing weekly prizes with purchases of $299 and over. So don't delay. Get what you need now and pay absolutely nothing until 2021.
Showtime. We got it. Just what you need. Yeah, Quartz got it.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Thank you for staying with us. First up, Dominica has come under high commendation for reaching its food security goal. Julian Morris explains.
The issue of food security was exposed after Hurricane Maria, when the country had to rely on alternative food supplies. Since then, government had embarked on a number of programs to ensure the country was able to feed itself should another disaster occur. Now, with the country battling the COVID-19 pandemic and nearing the official end of the 2020 hurricane season, Technical Officer for Projects and Services in the Ministry of Agriculture, Ryan Ansem, says Dominica has reached its food security demands.
These uncertain times, COVID-19, have shown that we in Dominica, we have met our food security demands in terms of the acreages that we have expanded, and we are also exporting. And not only we are meeting our food security, we are assisting other countries in terms of our export to the Northern Caribbean. And so the general public can rest assured that the ministry, through its program, the livelihood enhancement program of the funded by the World Bank, is also lending tremendous support to our farmers, where we have distributed millions of dollars in terms of inputs, fertilizer, and small equipment, all aimed at increasing our production and our productivity.
Ansem, who is also the national correspondent for the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, says there were challenges along the way to attaining national food security.
You would have certain limitations in terms of movement, in terms of the farmers doing some of their agronomic practices. Labor would be a problem in terms of movement of people, but we have seen some best practices. We have seen that the fisher folks, actually we have seen a reduce in price of fish, and so we have never gone out of fish, and so it's all part of the investment that we have made over the years, the technical know-how, the trainings, and the research that we have done over the years that is paying benefit in terms of meeting our food security needs.
Ansem appeals to Dominicans to continue playing their role to ensure long-term self-sustenance in the country.
We have to do it together, and we are starting in the schools, and that's why we have employed officers to specifically deal with the school gardens to help in school education, and so part of it is to continue the awareness, the slogan "Eat local," let's grow what we eat and eat what we grow. But through our programs is basically looking at how we enhance and expand the agricultural sector, because there's no two way about it.
In more top stories, President of the Dominica Association of Industry and Commerce, Stephen Lander, has weighed in on some of the action government can take to further stimulate the local economy. Lander, who was a guest on a program hosted by Prime Minister Skerrit, was asked what else could be done to stimulate the economy in these challenging economic times.
When the private sector faces the type of challenges that we face, and you're forced to furlough workers and shut down operations, etc. Usually, what is expected and what has happened in our case is that the public sector spending plays a bigger role. What the government can probably do more deliberately is ensure that some of that spending is actually directed to the private sector entities that continue to operate. So a lot of stuff that we're doing in Dominica now is construction oriented. I mean, we're building a lot of homes and so on. And if private sector opportunities are allowed to bid for the supply of certain things, it may be doors, windows, whatever is needed for these projects, at least that spending goes to help those businesses survive the turbulent waters that we're facing now. So, not saying that this is not happening now, but a deliberate effort to ensure that it happens and continues to happen is certainly welcome from the government's perspective.
President of the Dominica Hotel and Tourism Association says the plans must be put in place for the stability and sustainability of small businesses.
Business continuity plans need to be put in place. Now, we have very small businesses that are members of the DHTA. So you have to adapt them, because when we think business continuity plan, we think of organizations with hundreds of people who have complicated plans for that. No, there are formats that we can do, but what we are looking for is the right consultants that we maybe have in the country, in the small business unit, or some of our companies have these people. We may have to hire some consultants to help our small and medium members, because we had the shock of Erika, the shock of Maria, now we have the shock of Corona. Other things may come in the future, and we can work with our members to have a better, sustainable, stable business. And we can try to work like a small country like Ireland in Europe has done, set up a master plan for the next 6 to 9 months. And maybe that is surely where we can take the same we did to come to the managed experience, bring all parties together and have a think tank how Dominica can make its own master plan for the next 6 to 12 months.
Prime Minister Skerrit agrees public-private sector collaboration is key.
We are certainly developing, as a government, a closer relationship with the DHTA and the DIC, and I say so with the greatest of sincerity. We look forward to strengthening and deepening that collaboration. At the end of the day, the country benefits. And if the country benefits, everybody who resides in the country will benefit from this. We will not always agree, we will see things from a different perspective, but we need to create an environment where we can openly and transparently and objectively discuss issues of national importance and so on. So we look forward to strengthening this, and I offer this collaboration and this cooperation to both of the organizations going forward.
More from the DAIC and the DHTA presidents later in this newscast. In more developments, coordinator of the National HIV/AIDS Response Program says there is no data to support the concept that people living with HIV and AIDS are at greater risk of contracting COVID-19 than others in the general population. Lester Guy says the International Department of Health and Human Services, together with the Center for Disease Control, CDC, has issued interim guidelines for people living with the disease.
Clients are constantly reminded to liaise with the healthcare practitioners within the healthcare district or through the clinical care coordinator of the infectious disease through the National HIV and AIDS Response Program. We continue to provide treatment and care support to all our clients, but also the loved ones who we have identified as the support system. This family and loved one support system is to encourage that these patients and clients continue to follow the national protocol as it relates to COVID-19.
The HIV response team has advocated in a number of areas as it continues the fight against HIV during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Promotion of what we call pre-exposure prophylaxis. HIV self-testing, which is right now on the table within the region to help persons to have the test done rather than having to go into a healthcare facility. Increased detection. Encouraging self-care, which is extremely important because one of the unfortunate challenges we have here in Dominica is a lot of our clients are from the lower economic status or are economically challenged. Provision of psychological support for persons living with HIV and AIDS and inclusive of their families. Advocating for human rights awareness in our healthcare settings. Advocate for actions that promote health for everyone in spite of their status. Advocacy for social protections for persons known to be HIV positive, which at times has become a challenge because of stigma and discrimination. Enable and strengthen our civil society and community-led response, because at times we cannot always meet all of the persons in different communities. We have what we call our vulnerable communities, and at times it's very difficult for them to access health. People with HIV should also continue to do those in conclusion. To maintain a healthy lifestyle by eating right. Getting at least sufficient rest during the nights or when it's necessary. Avoid stressful circumstances as much as possible because stress reduces your immune system. And it, again, because you're already immunocompromised, it makes it a lot more dangerous for you. Staying healthy helps your immune system fight any type of infection. And again, being immunocompromised places you at a greater risk.
In more news, a $32,000 minibus to be procured by the Dominica Red Cross Society to further assist its humanitarian efforts. The funds for purchasing the vehicle come from the government of Japan under its Grant Assistance for Grassroots Human Security Project (GGP). The contract signing marks the first by which GGP funds are being granted for a project approved within the 2020 financial year. President of the Dominica Red Cross Society, Reginald Winston, says the minibus will be extremely useful to the society and its functions.
This vehicle will enable us to reach out to our communities and to our branches to provide supplies, not only in times of disasters, but in normal times. We'll use the vehicle to spread the education in different fields, to warn our people of incoming disasters, and to maintain contact with our many branches and teams throughout the island. We'll be able to reach out to the vulnerable and the most hit by any kind of event, and most importantly, we'll be able to transport our volunteers and our teams in a convenient and a safe manner.
The contract signing marks the second time the Embassy of Japan has assisted the Dominica Red Cross through the GGP. A previous grant was awarded in 2013 for the procurement of an ambulance.
Because of this donation, the Japanese government has made a great impact on helping the National Society to continue one of its fundamental principles in serving humanity in times of distress and in normal times. Many thanks and God bless.
You are watching the Channel 5 News. Stay tuned for more after the break.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD, all for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
We are strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this together. But these are stressful times, and it's important to also practice good self-care. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or afraid. But there is hope. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, stay in touch with your community, and know that you are not alone. We're in this together. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
Welcome back. The Forestry Division is working closely with the Dominica Police Force to curb incidents of the illegal export of Dominica's wildlife, which remains a major concern for the division. Julian Morris has that story.
Dominica opened a shortened version of its hunting season on 1st October with the aim of closing the season on 13th November. During this time frame, there are also more restrictions on which wildlife can be hunted, as the division wants to give certain wildlife more time to recover and replenish from Hurricane Maria. Director of Forestry Minchington Burton says even prior to the opening of the season, illegal hunting and export of wildlife have been major concerns for the division.
Even prior to this hunting season being open, we're still having issues of illegal hunting of wildlife, and some people involved in that illicitly. In the illicit trade of actually exporting these things in bag by bags. We had about 9 bags which was confiscated a few months ago in the Cabrits area, another 6 bags or so. Apparently people involved in illicit trading to the French islands and so on. We are very, very strict on that. We're working with the police to capture individuals involved in this illegal trade, because when you do that, you're not only making it difficult. What you're actually doing is preventing future Dominicans from being able to enjoy.
While unable to say whether or not there has been an increase or decrease in illegal export of wildlife, Burton says there have always been pockets of the illicit activity on island.
The majority of Dominicans recognize the fact that they have to protect their natural environment and they work with us. But you'll always have the few rogue elements who do that the same way you have people involved in drugs, and sometimes we find some of the very same people involved in some of these other illicit trades are those who, if they see a lucrative as business for them, they will try to do that. All right, so you always have a few of these activities happening. I think that particular incident with some of the bags of crab were a few, I guess, individuals who probably been doing, and especially now, I guess, because of the COVID thing, people maybe see an opportunity to get into that illicit trade.
The Director of Forestry commended the police for its work to reduce incidents of illegal hunting and export of wildlife, and says the division has also stepped up its vigilance amid the COVID-19 pandemic.
We've been working closely with the police, and I must thank the police for working very hard with us, especially right now, because the police are also trying to prevent illegal entry and exit in the country because of the COVID. So we've stepped up a lot of some of our vigilance around the ports and all areas of illegal entry with some of these activities. But we just like to employ, because the main thing you have to really, for these people who are involved in that type of activity, you have to make a plea towards their conscience, so to speak.
Dominica has spent the major part of 2020 in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, which has meant major challenges for businesses. Presidents of both the DAIC and the Dominica Hotel and Tourism Association have outlined what COVID means for their members in terms of the adjustments being made to stay afloat.
There has to be a focus on improving our agility. Certainly things are changing at a faster pace than we're used to. So we don't have the luxury, as I said, of sitting around, and we have to be responsive to those changes. And part of our role as the Chamber of Commerce is to engage all stakeholders, not just the businesses to say, you have to be more agile, but the government, for example, and customs and port, and all these other stakeholders to realize that as things are changing around us, we cannot demand the same thing of the parties that we transact with. So we ourselves have to be willing to be flexible and be agile and be responsive to these new challenges as well. So it takes an effort on all of our parts, and that's what we'll be lobbying for.
I think that it is important now, with the modern communication tools and the way of working, that we learn to change our wishes into projects. And a project for me means it has a project description, it has a timeline, and it also has a budget. And I have been talking with the board, especially that budgets do not have to come from the government. We as entrepreneurs, we don't want to be the ones saying, government, can you please give money? No. We need to look at budgets and say, where in the world, because the world is now so much smaller, where in the world can money be found for these budgets? There are grants available. There are 8 organizations and countries with 8 possibilities available. For us, as a small DHTA, we cannot always easily get access to them, and we may have to come to our Minister of Tourism, we may have to come to the Cabinet and say, can you help us? Here is a project clearly described, this is a time plan, and this is a budget that we are looking for. Can the government help us find international funding for what we have here? In that sense, we have a different question to ask to the government than just asking for money.
And an oil tanker with 1.3 million barrels of crude oil is sinking in the Gulf of Paria between Venezuela and Trinidad. This could impact the ecological systems of Venezuela and Trinidad and Tobago almost immediately. The impact of the spill can also affect other countries within the hemisphere. The Civil Defense Commission, CDC, and the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Authority, CIDEMA, have been closely monitoring the situation. Should the need arise, the National Oil Spill Contingency Plan will be activated, and the committee will be tasked with conducting analysis, assessments, and necessary response measures to mitigate any adverse effect on Guyana. Fishing and seagoing vessels are urged to be on the lookout for any sighting of the oil spill and to report immediately.
Flow helps you stay connected to what matters. Simple plans and a better network mean that you can enjoy 7 days of unlimited social messaging, 3 gigabytes of reliable data to use as you like, 700 local anywhere calls and texts with the always-on prepaid plan, all for $29. Keep your number when you switch to Dominica's most reliable LTE network. Buy wherever you top up. Switch to Flow. It only gets better.
Strong, we are resilient, and we will get through this together. But these are stressful times, and it's important to also practice good self-care. It's normal to feel overwhelmed, anxious, or afraid, but there is hope. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, stay in touch with your community, and know that you are not alone. We're in this together. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
A new in-home experience is here. All your services bundled into one simple plan. Faster, more reliable Wi-Fi so that you can binge, play, and stream uninterrupted. Unlimited Flow local landline minutes mean you can talk and talk and talk. Plus the best in TV entertainment with over 120 channels and 29 in HD. All for $160 a month with the new all-in bundle. With Flow, it only gets better.
To end the news, the headlines again. Dominica attains a food security goal. Global health experts say people living with HIV and AIDS are not at greater risk of contracting COVID-19 than their other counterparts. And Forestry Division working closely with police to curb illegal export of Dominica's wildlife. Feel free to access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Andrea Louis. And to all of our viewers around the world, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful weekend.